And take it away, Paul.
It's been a minute since we had a show, and we're happy to be back. We're excited with our guest today. He is a very well-known person in the South Bay. He started the Rockefeller chain of restaurants, the Little Sister chain of restaurants, the Venice West, BeachLife Grotto that just opened in the Village, the new California Surf Club, and he's probably best known for the BeachLife Festival itself. We'd like to welcome Allen Sanford.
You guys got a great intro and sound stuff.
Yeah, we're high tech here. We do the best we can with what we got.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. It's great to have you here to discuss. We're going to talk about the things that you do, also, but how you do them, and how your influence is going to maybe help the city get involved with the Olympics. But let me start with BeachLife, because people are always interested. And I know there was a teaser of the date. I guess it's May 1st through the 3rd.
Every first weekend of May, yes.
Yeah. And are we looking at even bigger, better shows, or bigger, better talent, and a bigger event, or what are we looking forward to?
Good question. And I just wanted to clarify one thing. My brother, who's a fantastic restaurateur, does the Little Sisters. I do not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We used to be partners with Union Cattle and Dia de Campo and a few others, but he's since gone on to build that thing up. So I just wanted to give him the credit he's due.
Sure.
So BeachLife, no, since 2019, the goal has never been about bigger. The fences have not grown. I don't have a desire to make this thing 30,000 people. I think we've reached a real sweet spot with the community as far as embracing it. I think that we've demonstrated that, through statistics, that the traffic doesn't get insane, which was one of the big worries. There's not a ton of arrests. In fact, I think there was one arrest the entire time, which is a huge credit to the community. I mean, there is no festival that this happens.
No.
And then one of the coolest statistics I wanted to share was we did have a very unfortunate incident. Somebody experienced a stroke during BeachLife, but I'm proud to report that the Redondo Beach Fire Department transported and had her into professional care in 16 minutes, which is even less than it would have been if she had been at her house.
Yeah.
So it's pretty phenomenal. And it's one of the
that's critical when it comes to stroke care. The sooner you get to the patient, they can treat them, and people make full recoveries.
It's critical. So it's one of the reasons that I got involved with the Redondo Beach Police and Fire Foundation, because those guys they do such an excellent job. Shout out to Chief Butler and to Brian Regan. Those guys just unbelievable. So yeah, we've got some great statistics to show that this is just a fantastic community event. It's a bigger event. It puts us on the map, I believe.
Yes.
But we're stoked on it. And next year I wouldn't say we're going bigger, but we're going just as good. We've got a bunch of offers out to artists. And in fact, if either of you two want to throw some names in the ring, let me know.
Well, I've always wanted to see Friday night as a dance party night. So Chromeo and, Charlie XCX and things like that, some dance music on Friday, because that's just kind of, to me, growing up here, is, like Friday night was the night to go out to a club and dance your pants off. So you just, that kind of thing always seems to appeal to me. I saw Chromeo up at Bottle Rock, and it was just bumping. It was awesome. So that's an idea that I've always thought might work. If you kind of stick to like Friday night's this night, Saturday it's this night, and Sunday night's this night. I have to say, compared to the other festivals, and they're all bigger. I've been to Ohana, which is literally on the beach in Dana Point, and it's a big festival, and it's really kind of loose compared to BeachLife. And Bottle Rock is 40,000 people. It's a giant show. But it's also really right in the middle of the city. So they have a lot of security apparatus going on and concerns. And like when I was there, both at 10 o'clock, they pulled the plug on GNR one year. And then the next year they pulled the plug on Foo Fighters. Like 10 o'clock, they pulled the plug. We're done. We're not going to piss off the neighbors. So you do the same thing. You work with the city and make sure things are good. I did go last year and saw Lenny Kravitz. And I have to say, I've seen Lenny like all the way back when he played the Wiltern when he was starting. He put on one of the best sets of live music I've seen in years. And it was there. And it was just hypnotic. I was just stoked with that show. So that was cool to see. I wanted to talk about your branding of BeachLife itself compared to those other festivals. You know, Coachella takes itself kind of too seriously, I think, and Beach Ohana and Bottle Rock have their own thing going on. They cater to a certain demographic, but BeachLife has this playfulness about it. It's sometimes in the summer show or the other show especially can be. It really involves family and children and younger people because some of the artists, and I know your graphic artist, John Faso, I know he's an artist and a cartoonist, and some of his stuff has this kind of SpongeBob look to it. And I always thought, I go, that's cool. It's unique. It's South Bay. And it's also, I do think you make an effort to like, hey, this is a family event and kids can come here and have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I have a 6-year-old and a 6-month-old, so yeah. I've tended in my career to build businesses that will resemble my own path of life. And I can't imagine being at the BeachLife without my daughter, or even my daughters. My youngest daughter came as well, just for a little bit. So that, you know, since I want that to happen, that starts triggering a bunch of other musts, right? Which is security, which is things being safe, structures being safe. Yeah. One of the biggest, probably life decisions I've ever had to make was with wind cancellation. Yeah. And it actually, people asked me, it must have been a really hard decision to make. And it actually wasn't. It was really easy because my daughter and my wife were under one of the structures. Yeah. I just thought to myself, you know, how would other people feel if families got hurt, if kids got hurt? So we also have Keith Kaufman, the former chief of police with Redondo Beach, as well as Corey King, who makes sure that we're safe. The current chief of police, Joe, does a fantastic job. So, I mean, I think culturally kids have to be a part of it, right? How do they learn culture and responsibility? And they learn it by being in these environments, they're chaperoned in a way. And then they also get a little bit of freedom to make mistakes, but the mistakes, if they make them, aren't egregious.
And they're penned in. I mean, they can't go far. They can get lost, but they can't get totally lost.
Hey, Allen, I want to ask you something about your branding, your evolution over the last few years that I've seen, that I've been witness to. As you evolve and build out these new brands, is it something that you've already planned, or do you move with the opportunities and the ideas that are placed in front of you? Like, are you already positioned to my next move, or do you see opportunities and then decide how you can bring that to fruition and add that to your brand, or do you already know what your next move is?
That's a great question. I have a serious infection called shiny objectitis. And it's been one of my biggest strengths and weaknesses as an entrepreneur. I get excited. I get really passionate about these businesses, which for anybody that's seen the prickly side of me, it's not because I'm a prickly person. It's because I'm just really passionate about things. And when I started BeachLife, it had been on the tail of a lot of restaurants that I've done over the last 25 years, where maybe I wasn't so passionate about, you know, the concept or what I was doing. It was more of an economic consideration. With BeachLife, it's different. This is my whole DNA, and my whole human vibe is BeachLife. It's all I've ever really known. Going down to the beach, hanging out. If I ever get a free minute, you'll see me down at the beach with my daughter. So with that, I don't really need to try very hard. I know exactly what the feel is. I know what the vibe is. I consider myself an expert in beach life living, just by having done it for 46 years of my 48. So when these new businesses come, all I need to really think about is staying true to the culture and being authentic, and not trying to fake or create a business that's not genuine. You see a ton of businesses coming in right now that are California this, or,
Yes.
but they're not. And it's very easy. And in how I grew up, you can check a lack of authenticity really easily. Um, you know, I can tell if somebody can surf, for example, by the way they carry their board and whether their wetsuit's in their backpack or not. I don't even need to see them surf. Same thing in business. We can tell when there's a lack of authenticity. And it was a big deal for me to even name the California Surf Club that, because a lot of the surf community, I won't called BS on me, right? Like, hey, there's no surf spot there. That's not really a surf, it's not really a surf club. But that's not the point. The point is that we're celebrating the culture and the community of the surfing lifestyle. And so sometimes these brands and these ideas take a little bit of time to germinate and to get accepted for what they really are. And as you guys well know, in Redondo Beach, there is a small, very small community, but very vocal community that just likes to say no to everything, and they don't want anything to change, and everything's bad, and they like the waterfront being a big parking lot that's vacant since I was a little kid. So, I've taken some shellacking for it, but I'm really confident that it's an improvement to the South Bay, and as long as the branding stays true to the South Bay and the community that I think is kind of what beach life is, then I'm cool with sleeping at night.
Do you
Yeah.
have a
Go ahead.
tech product? Do you have a technology product? Do you have a technology product?
Several. We have
Okay.
a full California Surf Club app.
Yes.
Yes, I have a small background in technology. I had a technology company called LiveList, and I learned out of that. The life lesson I learned out of that is I'm not a technology guy.
Okay, because doing my research, I was like, he dabbles in tech, and that's a part of him we actually don't talk about often. So I do want to ask you, and then to you, Paul, how do you approach brand consistency across platforms, from live events, tech products, restauranteering, while leaving room for growth and innovation?
Good question. Branding is very important. Reiteration of branding and just similar branding constantly is kind of the rule of thumb. Paul, you mentioned John Faso, who's a local born and raised guy. Love him. Does a great job of our branding. JP Cordero is our director of content. Both of those guys know the surf and South Bay culture. That's a big deal. Because people that aren't born and raised here, though they might learn the culture, they don't know the ins and the outs of the culture. So I've made a real concerted effort when it comes to branding to create a team that really understands the nuances. And that's it. It's just understanding nuances. When I was building the app Live List, I also learned that a lot of people consume most of what they know about a company online, which sucks, because you don't get the real color of the company. But creating things that stay consistent is the key there, right? So just consistent colors, consistent marks, and not trying to outdo yourself every time is our kind of rule of thumb.
Yeah, just to let people know that the footprint of the California Surf Club did not increase or decrease anything in the harbor. Really, it took over a couple businesses that were gone, and thank God for that. The Chillers restaurant had been vacant for decades, and it's a revitalization that a lot of people were hoping for, and it's exciting to see. It's great to see. I got a chance to look inside the restaurant the other day. It's lovely. Even the Grotto. I had dinner at the Grotto. Had the snapper. It was very nice. It's got this vibe to it that is very comfortable and very Californian, kind of similar to what I feel up at Terranea in their main lobby bar. It's just got this great kind of California architecture and design elements to it. So I got off on a tangent there, but there was something that Tonya mentioned. Was the beach club, the California Surf Club, was that a response to a changing market, or, because we've all seen Redondo and the beach cities, they're definitely becoming more affluent. Did you see a need that wasn't there, or was it something else like they'll if we build it, they'll come?
No, it was a shiny object. It was the fact that, so I grew up border PV in Torrance / Redondo. I spend most of my time at Rat Beach when it comes to going to the beach. But when I started to do BeachLife, I kind of reintroduced myself to the harbor. I had a boat in Port Royal in my 20s. Yeah. Everything that they say about boating is true. So I gave up my boat, but I got reacclimated to the harbor, and I actually took my daughter, at the time was about 3, and we were paddling through the harbor on a stand-up. I was showing her boats, and we got off, and she said, "Daddy, I'm having fun. Let's stay here." Right. And for those of you dads, that when your daughter says, "Let's do something," you jump to it and do it. Yeah. And so we wanted to stay. And then I looked around and I go, okay, where are we going to go? And there's 2 empty buildings in front of me and a huge concrete parking lot and a state park that has fences around it that are chain linked 9 months a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. And I still believe that. And a lot of people get upset at me for it, but I went to the Seaside Lagoon when I was 5. Not much is different.
No, it hasn't changed since I, went there when I was a kid.
Yeah. So,
and there is some value in that. It seems like some of that turmoil that we went through in the city has kept away some of the lamer aspects of development that were going on in the 80s and 90s and later. They were really kind of just guessing at what they were going to do. This seems to have real purpose and roots. And like you said, authenticity, because it does. It to me, and a friend of mine's a member, and he said it's going gangbusters down there. It's just doing really well. And I thought there must have been a need. And I just wonder about the demographic that's there. I know you made a lot of efforts to involve, the community and locals to be part of it, and everybody's welcome. How's the response been?
Yeah. So in building the idea of, I asked myself, okay, well, what can I do down here? And look, I built a lot of restaurants. I know that game. Yeah. I respect George Lauren and Chris Bredesen very much. They're down here. Mike Zislis. There's enough restaurants down here. That's not the solve, right? Yeah. So building another 2 restaurants, to me, would have actually made the situation worse. It would have increased the competitive atmosphere. It just wouldn't have added a lot. And so I thought, okay, why not a place to hang out? Why not a place to enjoy community? Why not a place to listen to fireside chats and smart people talk? Like, for example, a guy tonight is much smarter than me. Sheriff Luna is coming down to tell stories by the fire, right? Yeah. Like, you don't get that anywhere in the South Bay. And that's where the club was born. And a lot of people, I've approached this head on. A lot of people have claimed, oh, this is a bougie Manhattan thing. It's not. I don't love the way Manhattan Beach is gone, but people have to understand that when you make an investment, the world doesn't work off of free investments, right? And there has to be economics around investment. And so, anybody can come into the surf club. There is a day rate. So this whole idea that this is a private bougie thing is just flat out false. And it is the same negative people in the community that I've gotten to know that just like to cause problems. And that's okay. I'm fine with them as well. But this is a cool place to enjoy smart people, good music, everybody's welcome. But we did invest a significant amount of money. And the way we did it, I think, is important to talk about on this show. You talked about stopping CenterCal, and I wasn't a part of that fight, so I'm not going to really dig in on what side I wanted, but that was massive change. Okay. Yes. Then there's no change. And then there's the middle.
Yeah.
And if a community does no change for long enough, then what they do is they invite the massive change in. Okay. And the massive change are the people from New York and Michigan and everywhere else that have venture funds that look at this flat out economically and say, how much money can we create from this opportunity? What we did, and what Bill Brand and I talked about, was the reason I didn't knock those buildings down, which it would have been better for me to do that, to be honest,
Sure.
was because I would have gone through Coastal Commission and nothing would have happened for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And we would have been in this same vortex of nothingness. Right. And so the agreement that I made with Bill and the way we moved forward was I will take the hit. I will renovate your existing unkept, lack of maintenance, about to fall down buildings, because we want to see midterm change. We want to see change now. Right. I got a 6-year-old. I don't want to wait till she's 16 and 17 and going away to college to see some change. So my big kind of war cry is I'm cool with the 10 and 20-year plans, but I've heard enough of 10 and 20-year plans and then see nothing happen. I want to see 2-year plans. I want to see 3-year plans. And that leads us into the Olympic conversation, right? Same thing, 2 years away. Nothing has happened.
That's true. And now the city seems to be wanting to get a piece of that action. They recently awarded the BeachLife's marketing arm the opportunity to pitch Redondo Beach to the Olympic Committee and maybe bring whatever we can bring to the city. So I'm wondering what the opportunities are for Redondo and how you might approach that.
I think there's an absolutely tremendous opportunity for Redondo that's getting squandered right now. And I'm going to credit Jim Light, Mayor Light, for being one of the only people that moves the ball forward on a day-to-day basis. You know, I might disagree with him on some certain particular things, but I believe his heart is in the right place. And I believe he truly does want to move the ball forward, whether you agree with his positions or not. It's actual motion. Mm-hmm. So he created an Olympic committee where there was none. He asked me to be on it. I was reticent, to be honest. I think it's probably public information that the city council and I have not seen eye to eye on some things. But I really, truly want Redondo Beach to win. I really do. And I remember what it was like when I was 7 in the 84 Olympics and I saw the dude with the torch running down my street and I went, wow, that's cool. And so I see this as the last time the Olympics are going to come to my town, and I want to see the South Bay win. And so I've kind of thrown my hat in at the request of Mayor Light to be a part of that committee. And the first thing that came out of the committee, well, the first meeting we had, the kind of question is like, what do we do? Like, what do we do?
At this point, they're asking, what do we do? Which is kind of amazing. Hey, we got a harbor. There are sailing events.
I have some feedback on that, understanding that we did, because of what you have said, Allen, the no movement, right? We've lost the opportunity to actually host official events here, but we didn't lose the opportunity to possibly host families, to host trainings, have it as a training center and just be a hub. So I think we do have that opportunity to play a small part in the big picture. We just, because of what he said, which is what we all know, we've been in a no growth, no movement for so long that the ability to actually secure a major event, that has bypassed us. But I'm thankful to hear that you're on the committee because you are in the mindset of let's get it done, and you like shiny things. So it makes a lot of sense in regards to how we can get something done, how we can actually benefit in some sort of way from this situation and bring something to the table. I think that's pretty good. So there's a few other things. I think there's been some community meetings. Tama Lewis, I know she's hosting some meetings. Have you guys met with her yet?
No, we've just gotten started, and I would echo what you're saying. It's actually serendipitous that we didn't get the events, because I don't believe that is the crown jewel of participating. I before Bill died, I was on a call with him and Casey Wasserman during the COVID era. And we talked about the fact that Bill really wanted open water swimming, for example. But a lot of people don't know, when you host an actual event, the infrastructure is overwhelming. Your city shuts down. I think the bigger opportunity, to be honest, is that millions of people are going to come to LA. They're going to want to enjoy the Olympics, but they're actually not going to go to the games. They're coming for the energy and the vibe and the culture and the parties. I've seen some early pricing of the events. You want to talk about outpriced? You know, one ticket to the gymnastics is going to cost approximately $16,000. I don't care how much you like the Olympics. That just seems insane to me.
Yeah.
So what people are going to do is they're really going to come and enjoy LA. Okay. And if you look at where Redondo Beach and the South Bay sit, we're kind of in a triangulated center of everything. And I believe that the South Bay, I'm very subjective, but I believe the South Bay is the coolest place in Los Angeles. It's beach life, right? It's side story. The way that I named BeachLife is my wife, who's German and used to watch Baywatch in Germany. She used to dream about coming here into Southern California. We are actually living that life that millions of people dream about. All we have to do is tell people about that. And then I think we host the biggest parties that LA can host. So I'm more interested in working with the Olympic artists, Team USA Watch Party, and putting Redondo on the map. And I actually think what will happen if it's done right will be that, because it's only in 2 years, right? It's just around the corner.
It is.
That will actually spur the next 20 years of growth in Redondo, because every important person, builder, brand will be in LA. And if we can attract them, I think it's going to spur a tremendous amount of growth all over. So there's several assets I think Redondo has. I think the North has the PAC parking lot and track area. I think the Village is a great place to close off and do an event. I think obviously the waterfront. There's just a lot of opportunity. And I believe that the private sector needs to help the city. I don't believe the city's capable of executing this.
They may not have the resources to do it. Even if they could do it, they don't have the resources to do it right now.
It takes money.
Everything takes money, and especially if you want to, attach yourself to the Olympics, that it takes money. But when the Olympics were here in '84, I was able to get to the Olympic Village in downtown by the Coliseum, and it's just a huge party. That's all it is. It's just all the athletes and everybody else and millions of people. And those people probably there could be Olympic villages here. There could be Olympic villages, hey, it's the weekend of the Olympic Village in the South Bay. So that'd be a great thing to have, because the people are going to spread out. I mean, yes. There are going to be events at SoFi, which is really not that far from us. And the Velodrome, I think, we'll see if that's at Dominguez. I don't know exactly where they're having all those biking events. But I could see where there's plenty of opportunity for Redondo to take advantage of. We just got to kind of put the nose to the grindstone. And you're very good at getting people to put in to, with the concerts that were on Hermosa Beach. That was, talk about a passion project. I mean, there was no money involved in that. It was just, hey, everybody can come and see a free show, but you had the sponsorship from LA Car Guy and a few other folks. And they turned into a real landmark event. I mean, my summers were just made really fun because of those shows.
Those were so fun.
Yeah, they were fun. And it was kind of a proof of concept. One thing I did have a question about, you did kind of cut your teeth at the Kaboo Festival in Del Mar, or you were involved in that?
Yeah, I worked with them. I did all their live production. So I was the tech business that I was in was live streaming.
Yeah.
And I live streamed all of their productions. So I wasn't involved in the actual operations of the festival, but I was involved in all the TV production.
Okay. And now Volume.com does that for your events.
That's right.
I watched some of the events on that. They're good people. They do a great job. It's a great opportunity for people that maybe can't commit to a whole day at a show, or whatever limitations they may have. It's cool that you offer that, because it's, even without, before everybody knows, you probably be able to stream a lot of the show if you can't get in, or if it sells out or whatever it is. But you don't wait for the sellout to offer that, which I think is a very, very nice thing to do. Yeah.
And we also, this goes back to being transparent and genuine with the BeachLife. Not everyone is in the position to buy a ticket, whether it's economics, whether it's too much kids, whether it's whatever. And we've always believed that music is universal. So it actually costs me money to live stream. It's really not an economic advantage for me. There's an argument. Some people say that you're going to sell less tickets, right? I hear all the time boaters and people live streaming in their locally, and they have watch parties for BeachLife, but it just kind of feels like a right thing to do from a branding perspective. So, it's it's one of those decisions you make. And, you know, I heard something last night, which has something to do with this and also the Olympics. I was watching something and it said, Michael Jordan was asked 26 times, well, way more than that, but 26 of the times he was asked to take the game-winning shot, he failed. He didn't make it. But that's how he succeeded, is by being willing to do that. And I just, with BeachLife, with Surf Club, with the Olympics, like, why not? Why are we not swinging more for this stuff?
Yes.
It makes no sense to me, right? And
Well,
so politically, community-wise, like, I've done my share of just being quiet, because sometimes when you're vocal, things don't turn out your way.
Sure.
I don't know how to say that better. But I just feel like with the Olympics, with all this stuff, my invitation to everybody in the South Bay that doesn't like what I'm doing or doesn't like Surf Club or BeachLife is just, like, give it a try. Give it a try. Why not?
And that's why I think volume, you know, that people that may have never gone to the show catches this live stream and says, wow, that looks like a great opportunity. And BeachLife, to me, you know, going to these other shows, I mean, I travel to go to these festivals. BeachLife's become this hyper local thing where most people are riding their bikes to it. So yeah, I mean, we all had concerns. I had concerns about traffic because I live very close to the venue, of people, like, you know, selling $20 spots on their yard and stuff like that, and just the kind of the chaos that goes on where at the Forum or SoFi and things like that. But it hasn't really panned out that way. I think it's because of the scale of the show, the artists you pick, the vibe, and also just it's just, I don't know if people just like, it's not accessible enough for me, or they just turn away from it. But I think you had published or said the amount of tickets that purchased online, they're all like local zip codes.
Yeah, we're about 74% local, and
that's awesome.
It just speaks to the beach. It just speaks to what we're all pretty cool people down here. So you put a bunch of cool people together, and you don't.
I don't know about me, but I'll take it.
Well, you put that vibe out, and people tend to respect the vibe. You know,
sure.
There's not a whole lot of bad actors. Knock on wood, knock on anything around that participate in BeachLife.
Yeah. Hey, Allen, I want to put on my comms hat real quick and
Sure.
ask, when it comes to crisis management, right? Whether it's event cancellations, artist disputes, backlash, naggy community people, how do you approach public communications? And what role does transparency play in protecting both the brand, the business relationships, and your reputation?
To be on social media, because my response is to jump through the screen. And I want to meet with the person and talk to the person. I'm very logical, or I like to think I am. And I am definitely willing to say that I'm wrong when somebody makes a good point, but I don't like it when people hide behind screens. And my initial reaction is to just respond and jump in. And actually the team has to hold me back and say, no, don't give them air, right? That's just one person. But I am a big fan of taking responsibility. It was something I was taught when I was a kid. So, you know, when we make a mistake, it's better to just admit the mistake and, you know, either give back the money or do what you do and move on. And I find that most people, 90% of people, are really reasonable people. There's no customer service anymore these days. You need something, you call an 800 number and somebody from somewhere in the world answers you. Here, you know, for example, with the Surf Club, I answer every single email that has an accounting issue, because I know that people work hard for their money and I don't want them to think that we're taking advantage of them, right? So can you do that at scale? I don't know yet, but we're not at that scale where we can't do that. And I think as long as you're transparent and genuine, you're gonna be fine. I would say the one caveat to that would be, politically it's difficult because there are certain people in the community. There have been people in the past that either by standing on the dais or having a bigger microphone can make truths what they want to be true.
Sure.
And so as a business, I have to be careful about putting my emotions on the side and always maintaining respect, but there are times where I want to say something that I don't.
Yeah.
And that's important to the brand as well.
As the past president and board member of the NRBBA, first I want to thank you for participating and supporting our festival, our Spring Fest. You were a gem with the help that you provided, with the way you partnered with us. Talk to me a little bit, before I let you out of here, about your vision, your view, your relationship with community organizations, and how you feel they play a role in the success of your brand.
I think the best way that I can communicate that is I joined the Riviera Village Association right before COVID. I was never a big fan of associations, to be honest. And when I joined it, COVID happened. And we ended up building the Parklet program, which was a very successful program, not just for COVID, but it has lived on. A lot of other cities copied us. A lot of other cities called us for help. We worked very closely with the city. I kind of realized at that juncture that these associations can be really helpful, not just with community and with city, but also with business. And so, when you get community, city, and business working together, you can do really cool stuff. And what I've realized is a lot of the times these associations aren't really they need some help moving the ball forward as well, right? I mean, that's a common theme that I've talked about today is anybody has a great idea. I hear great ideas every single day. I hear a ton of them. And then there's 1 out of 10 people can execute an idea, actually execute, get it done. So baby steps of execution, I think, is what I want to empower more with these associations. The Redondo and Police Fire Foundation, we just successfully joined them. The fire joined the police because I noticed the police is getting all this love, but the fire gets no love. That doesn't make any sense. And you would think it'd be difficult to do, but it's actually, none of this stuff is difficult to do. It just takes a little elbow grease, right? It takes some people willing to donate some time. So it's free time, but also to kind of force progress. And so I think these associations and these foundations can be really helpful. And I would welcome that they talk more and more. I think North Redondo you guys are off to a good start. It's a big, tremendous task you have up there in the north. You've got some geographic issues that you need to overcome, but I think anything's overcomable. And if you get a bunch of people like you guys together, then I think success is the next step.
Hey, when I met Chief Kaufman when he was an officer, and he will always say, when Tonya came in my office, she was coming in hot. We started off a hot mess. Yep. But by the time he retired, he's been one of my favorite people on the planet. He talks to my son as a mentor. I was sad to know that he moved, but I can still call and text. And he's a great guy. What's it like for you working with him? And how did y'all's relationship evolve?
Oh, he's just a excellent human being. And I am very attracted to excellent human beings. I like to be around them because I like to figure out how they're excellent. And I like to try to pretend to be like them because I'm always trying to be better. I got to know him. What's that?
You are succeeding at that.
So
you're not just trying, you're succeeding.
Thank you. I met him the first year of BeachLife. Walked into his office. I was going to get introduced to the chief of police for the first BeachLife. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Another chief of police. And I walked in and he had a Pennywise hat up on his bookshelf. And my partner is Jim, who's the lead singer of Pennywise. And I said, okay, my dad always taught me when you walk into an office, don't look around, find some common ground. So I said, so first, sat down, I said, hey, you like Pennywise? He goes, oh man, he kind of lit up. So that was kind of the first level, but he didn't trust me. Who's this guy I haven't heard of? Blah, blah, blah. And funny enough, about a week later, I surfed at one of, the spots I surfed and I paddled out. I was having a good day for a 42-year-old and popped out of the back of a wave and I started paddling out and I looked over and it was Keith.
Yeah.
And at that moment, we kind of looked at each other and we go, okay, we're for real. We're for real.
Yeah.
We have since built a fantastic working relationship, but even better friendship. He is the guy that I literally saw and went, man, you guys give your lives for us, and we don't even know about it as the public. I mean, think about that. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I would be willing to put my life on the line for strangers who are not thankful. And I have a daughter. And so ever since then, I told Keith, I told the police, I told the fire guys, whatever you guys need, I'm just here to make your life better because you guys make my life better.
It's hilarious. He didn't trust you. I didn't trust him. It was like a mess. But he is a wonderful person, full of knowledge and patience for bad attitudes like mine. But yeah, it's great to see you guys working together and building something incredible in the South Bay. We're grateful. Again, we're grateful for the time that we've had with you. Anything before we get out of here, Paul?
I could talk for another hour.
I know, right?
This is fascinating stuff. So I just, the one thing I would say is, I don't know if it's possible to stay authentic at larger scales. The scale you're at for the South Bay is perfect, I think, right at this moment. I'm sure you will find other things to do and other aspects that you could take the idea of beach life and just the lifestyle that a lot of the one thing I noticed about branding is all companies want to become a brand and all brands want to become a lifestyle. And to me, there's only a few things that ever became lifestyles. One was Harley Davidson. That's the only product, I think. The other one was the Grateful Dead and Martha Stewart and Jimmy Buffett. Those things became lifestyles. It's very difficult to make that jump. And everybody, I worked for a company that tried its best to become this kind of rock lifestyle. And, it was Gibson Guitar, and they had a 100-year-old company, and it just really not everybody plays guitar. They're not going to have that kind of lifestyle. So the idea of being beach people, and I consider myself and my wife beach people, this concept and the way it feels at the Grotto and the Village is just I get it now. I see it and I see the opportunity. I wish you well. I hope it keeps growing and I know you'll stay authentic.
Thank you. Well, I'll see you on the beach soon. Yeah, this is what we do. And I don't have any big plans to be a mega company. Like, I just love living in the South Bay. And I love that I get to wake up every morning and work on the beach life. Like, what a dream.
Sure.
I love that. Hey, I got some ideas for you. So I don't know, is that an email? Is that a talk? Can we have lunch? Like, what are we doing?
We can do any of the above. You've got my number, my email. I would love to, either of you guys want to come down and check out the club. Anybody that sees this, if you're interested in just curious, you can hit me up and I'll give you a tour of the club. And I want this to be something that the community is stoked on. So
sounds fantastic.
Open book.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking the time, and we will see you guys soon.
Thanks, Alan.
Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode, and share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores, or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.